Picture this. A bubbling dish comes out of the oven, its golden crust crackling as it hits the cool air. The kitchen fills with the smell of cheese, meat, and vegetables mingling together. And as the first spoon digs in, steam rises to reveal layers of comfort. That is the magic of the casserole dish that once defined family dinners across America. But today, casseroles have faded into the background, often overlooked, even joked about. So how did this once beloved staple rise, dominate, and then nearly vanish? Tonight, we are uncovering the forgotten story of casseroles, a tale of survival, creativity, and community baked into every dish. 1. What exactly is a casserole? The word casserole comes from the French term for saucepan, or dish for baking. At its core, a casserole is not one recipe, but a method. Ingredients layered or mixed together, baked slowly, and served hot in the same dish. What makes casseroles so special is their versatility. They can be made from almost anything: meat, pasta, rice, vegetables, cheese, or beans. They stretch ingredients, feed crowds, and require minimal cleanup. But beyond convenience, casseroles carry history, culture, and the spirit of gathering around a shared meal. 2. Casseroles. In early America, before the word casserole was common, colonial households baked dishes that would fit the definition. Settlers used cast-iron Dutch ovens to layer meat, root vegetables, and grains, slow-cooking meals by the fire. These early casseroles were rustic, hearty, and designed to make the most of limited ingredients. For farming families, baking meals in one pot was practicless fuel: less time, more food. Casseroles became survival food, but they also became comfort food. 3. Immigrant influences. Casseroles from many cultures. The American casserole is a melting pot of traditions. Italian immigrants brought baked pasta dishes like lasagna and baked ziti. German and Scandinavian families layered potatoes, cream, and fish. Eastern European immigrants introduced cabbage rolls and kugels. Mexican and Southwestern cooks contributed layered tortilla casseroles with beans and chilies. Every culture that settled in America brought some form of one-dish baked meal, and over time, they blended into what we recognize as the American casserole. 4. The Great Depression. Casseroles of survival. The 1930s tested families like never before. With unemployment and hunger everywhere, casseroles became a lifeline. Little meat could be stretched with pasta, rice, or beans. Leftovers were never wasted. They became part of tomorrow's casserole. A simple tuna noodle casserole, for example, could feed a family for pennies. Canned goods like soups, tuna, or tomatoes kept costs low and meals filling. During this period, casseroles became symbols of thrift and resilience. 5. World War II and rationing. During the 1940s, rationing made meat, sugar, and butter scarce. Once again, casseroles came to the rescue. Homemakers relied on government pamphlets that suggested casserole recipes to make the most of rations. A single pound of meat could feed an entire family when combined with breadcrumbs, vegetables, and gravy. Patriotic posters even encouraged casseroles, urging families to do their part by stretching resources. The casseroles were not just dinner, they were part of the war effort. The 1950s, the golden age of the casserole. After the war, casseroles took on a new identity: modern, stylish, and family-friendly. Suburban homes with shiny new ovens embraced the casserole as the ultimate weeknight dinner. This was the era of cream of something, soup cream, of mushroom, cream of chicken, cream of celery. Campbell S. and other companies marketed these soups as magic binders that could turn any ingredients into a casserole. Cookbooks exploded with recipes: tuna noodle casserole, green bean casserole, chicken and rice, scallop potatoes, tamale pie, and more. Church cookbooks and PTA fundraisers spread casserole culture across the nation. Every potluck, bake sale, and family reunion had at least one bubbling casserole dish on the table. 7. The church supper and community potluck. Casseroles were more than just food, they were acts of love and community. When a neighbor was sick, when a family lost someone, when a new baby was born, someone always showed up with a casserole. At church suppers, dozens of casserole dishes lined the tables, each one reflecting the family who brought it. Some were creamy, some cheesy, some spicy, but all were made to be shared. The casserole became a symbol of generosity, neighborliness, and belonging. 8. Casseroles and gender roles. In the 1950s and 1960s, advertisements painted casseroles as the homemaker's secret weapon. Women could prepare a hot, filling meal quickly, giving them more time to balance childcare, housework, and social duties. Magazines promised a casserole for every occasion: company dinners, romantic evenings, or quick meals after a long day. While the marketing reinforced traditional gender roles, it also elevated casseroles into cultural icons of domestic life. 9. Regional casserole favorites. Casseroles varied widely across the country. The South, chicken and rice, squash casserole, and cornbread-topped bakes. The Midwest, tater tot casserole and hot dish became beloved staples. New England, baked beans, fish pies, and scalloped potatoes. Southwest, enchilada casseroles with chilies, tortillas, and cheese. Every region gave casseroles its own twist, reflecting local crops and traditions. 10. The famous green bean casserole. No story of casseroles is complete without the green bean casserole, invented in 1955 by Dorcas Riley at the Campbell Soup Company. Made with green beans, cream of mushroom soup, and French fried onions, it became a Thanksgiving staple across America. It was simple, inexpensive, and perfect for the holiday tabbouleh dish that connected generations. To this day, millions of households still serve it every year. 11. The rise of frozen and convenience casseroles. By the 1960s and 1970s, frozen meals and boxed casserole kits filled grocery store freezers. Families could bake lasagna or macaroni casserole straight from the box, no chopping or mixing required. While convenient, these meals also began to shift casseroles away from homemade tradition. The magic of a grandmother's chicken and rice casserole slowly gave way to frozen trays reheated in ovens. 12. The decline. 1980s and beyond. As health trends rose in the 1980s and 1990s, casseroles began to fall out of favor. People viewed them as heavy, processed, and outdated. Fresh salads, low-fat meals, and international cuisine took the spotlight. Potlucks became less common, neighbors less likely to drop off casseroles, and new generations saw them as relics of the past. 13. The nostalgia of casseroles. Yet for many, casseroles still carry deep nostalgia. They taste like childhood, like Sunday dinners, like holidays with family. They remind us of grandmothers in aprons, handwritten recipe cards, and kitchens filled with warmth. The smell of tuna noodle casserole or chicken pot pie can transport someone back decades in a single bite. 14. The modern revival. In recent years, casseroles are making a quiet comeback. Food bloggers and chefs have reimagined classics with fresh ingredients, healthier substitutions, and gourmet twists. Tater tot hotdish is being served in trendy restaurants. Green bean casserole is being elevated with fresh mushrooms and homemade crispy onions. Millennials and Gen Z are rediscovering casseroles as affordable, comforting, and nostalgic meals. 15. Why the casserole matters. The casserole story is not just about food. It is about family, culture, and survival. It carried people through the Depression, nourished soldiers' families during war, brought communities together in times of need. It is humble, but it is also powerful. Every bubbling dish represents creativity, care, and connection. So the next time you pull a casserole from the oven, remember, you are not just making dinner. You are carrying on a tradition that stretches back centuries. You are tasting the resilience of families who made the most of what they had. You are sharing in the generosity of communities who cared for one another. That is the forgotten story of casseroles, a story baked into every dish,